Ababa, and tonight the opening session of the African Union 50th anniversary celebrations was characterized by sharp criticism of Western trade and governance policies and their influence in Africa. African leaders openly praised China for helping the continent develop its infrastructure as the United States Secretary of State John Kerry sat through the session. And as KTN's Otieno reports, the Golden Jubilee celebrations began with a candid admission by leaders that Africa still faces a myriad of problems that should be dealt with within the next 50 years if the dream of the founding leaders of the Organization of African Union back then and African Union are to be realized.
African leaders opened the Golden Jubilee celebrations with a surprising hard tackle on the West for what they called forcing foreign policies and solutions on the African continent. With the mood already set by the Executive Council of the African Union in the last 3 days here in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, the leaders did not appear deterred by the presence of the United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon and the United States Secretary of State John Kerry. The speeches appeared specifically targeted, given that John Kerry already informed his U.S. government that he was coming to attend these celebrations in Ethiopia purposely because there was concern of growing Chinese and other Asian countries' influence in Africa.
It is encouraging to note that some of our friends and partners have given priority to infrastructure development in Africa in terms of their strategic partnership with our continent. In this regard, I wish to take this opportunity to express my deepest appreciation to China for investing billions of this sector to assist us in our development endeavors. Of course, we need the continued support of our friends and partners in our development endeavors. First and foremost, we seek their understanding on the need for us to have the policy space to design and implement our own development strategies based on objective realities of our countries and drawing valuable lessons from our successful developmental experiences.
There is no greater example of solidarity than in the sacrifices of African peacekeepers across the continent. When we therefore talk about African solutions to African problems, it is because we know that we can only permanently silence the guns if we act in solidarity and in unity.
The same message of African pride in African solutions was soon to follow from IGAD member countries as embodied in the speech of Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta at the Millennium Hall in the heart of Addis, where the celebrations of the commemoration of the Golden Jubilee were moved in the afternoon session. President Uhuru told the celebrants and Africa in general that African nations are struggling with nation building, instability and conflicts, and demands for deeper democratization. The AU heads of states and governments will begin the AU General Assembly inside this hall tomorrow morning, at which even more criticism is expected to emerge against the West as the African Union presidents discuss a decision asking the ICC to stop prosecution against President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto. The AU presidents will discuss a decision that wants the ICC to return the cases against Uhuru and William Ruto back to Kenya to be tried through the Kenyan local judiciary. Otieno, KTN at the AU headquarters in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.